the liberal arts without a parallel. Those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance, and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attend'st not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which, but by being so retired, all prized, all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary, as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound. He, being thus lauded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence, his ambition growing, dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
I have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for. He needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway, with the King of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbowed, alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens!
Well, mark his condition and the event. Then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. This King of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now is upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
A well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quitted. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubin thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine, some food we had, and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much. So of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, He furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise, sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heaven thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm.
No, thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience, I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come, servant, come. I'm ready now. Approach, my Ariel. Come.
Oh, hail, great master, grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure. Be to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding, task Ariel and all his qualities.
Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I may be?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship, now in the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin. I flamed amazement. Sometime I'll divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards and bowsprit, would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary in sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seem to besiege, and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine, and quit the vessel. Then, all afire with me, the king's son, Ferdinand, with hair upstarting, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leapt, cried, hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Aye, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
And are their Ariel safe?
Not a hair perished, on their sustaining garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badst me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbour is the king's ship, in the deep nook, where once thou call'st me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed Bermoothes. There she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffered labour, I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet which I dispersed, they all have met again, and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked, and his great person perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed to me.
Ah, now, Moody, what is't thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to make me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost. And think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth.